Something enormous is moving beneath the waves, and the cameras don't lie. These aren't whales, squids, or anything scientists can easily explain. They're bigger, stranger, and unlike any known creature on Earth. Some appeared once and vanished without a trace, while others keep resurfacing in oceans thousands of miles apart. Here are 20 unidentified sea monsters caught on camera that left the world stunned. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Now let's get started. Number 20. Mystery creature caught on a GoPro. This guy decided to go out into the open waters in nothing but a kayak and film himself while fishing. He was pretty proud of his brand new GoPro because it allowed him to see himself in all of his wetsuit glory. But then one day he caught something on camera that absolutely mystified him and shocked him to the core, even going as far as to post it on YouTube with a message that said, "What was that?" and then slow motion replaying it because you didn't see it the first time. The reason you didn't see it the first time is because it was a tiny black blob in the distance that popped up for about a millisecond. Now, I'm going to want you to humor me here for a minute because I'm going to tell you something that may shock you to the core. Seals are known for their natural curiosity, and that's especially true when it comes to humans. Unlike many of the wild animals in the ocean, seals will approach a diver, a snorkeler, or even a guy in a kayak because their inquisitive nature is driven by their intelligence and their playful behavior. They are a rather social animal, and this extends into their interactions with people and objects out in the open water that they may not initially be able to identify. They are known to get incredibly close to human beings, even playfully nibbling on flippers or equipment, and they do engage in extended amounts of eye contact. Marine biologists think that the seals do this as a way to gauge whether what they are seeing is a threat or not. And so, with all of that in mind, let's ask ourselves again, what was that? Number 19. Sea monster sighting at Mariner Museum's Loy. Here we have some overhead footage from a helicopter. It's going about observing what's going down in Loy when all of a sudden a completely legit sea monster appears. They even go so far as to highlight the sea monster just so you know that it's there and that it's real. And it is only ironic that the museum happened to have a display going on at that time about sea monsters and dinosaurs. It had absolutely nothing to do with this footage at all or the fact that it was posted on the museum's official YouTube channel, and that in the description of that video they advertised the ongoing display at the museum. I'm sure that these two events are not related at all, and that this footage is absolutely real and legitimate. Number 18. Sea monster in Ontario. Now, there are a lot of things on the internet that waste my time, but perhaps the biggest thing that ends up wasting my time on a daily basis is being on YouTube. And out of all of the videos of sea monsters that I could ever imagine watching, this one may be the biggest time waster ever. Here we have some guys who are pointing their camera at the water. Now, they don't know what it is, or at least they're acting like they don't. My money is going to be on they are being sarcastic and sardonic, and they actually do know what it is, but they're filming it so that they can then put it up on YouTube and get everyone to watch it, kind of like you are now. When in fact, the only thing that this is a gigantic rock. At the end of the video, a guy throws a rock on top of the rock. You can hear rock against rock sound. Oh, and then they assume it's just a gigantic turtle that's not moving and the video ends. It is a complete waste of time and of brain cells, and it's something that I could have honestly lived the rest of my life having never watched again. Number 17. Seneca Lake Sea Monster. That's kind of a title that's an oxymoron, isn't it? A lake monster in the sea or sea monster in the lake. But nonetheless, regardless of what it's called, there are a few key things that you need to do when you go to post a piece of fake footage online for people to marvel at and waste 5 minutes and 17 seconds of their life on. Number 1 is to put some kind of crazy filter on the footage. Maybe one that makes it look like it's old or blurry or otherwise something that could make the footage in question be not really plausible or even believable in the slightest. Number 2 is to put that old-timey film grain look on it. That kind of filter really jazzes up the screen and makes you believe that perhaps it was even filmed in the 1800s. Number 3 is to drink 17 Mountain Dews before you go to film. That way your camera is extra super shaky and nobody can actually tell what you're looking at. And number 4, find a piece of driftwood that's going along in the lake. That way you can tell people that it's some kind of monster of local legend and lore that has existed for hundreds of centuries. That's the way you do it with these kind of videos. And that's apparently the way that it was done here with the Seneca Lake monster. Oh, excuse me. Sea creature, sea monster. Yeah, that's it. Number 16. Strange ice monster in Alaska. Alaska is a world of absolute beauty. From the mountain peaks to the pine trees to the roaring landscape, there's a lot to discover there, and there's still a lot of it that's uncharted and will never be. In addition to all of this wilderness, there's also a lot of water bodies, including this river, and where authorities say that somebody filmed something kind of strange sitting at the surface. This event takes place at the Chena River in Fairbanks, Alaska, where authorities caught something on camera that kind of looks like a dragon swimming in the water. Now, dragons don't actually exist, unfortunately. So we know that it's not that, but then that leaves the question of what it actually may be. A Bureau of Land Management officer managed to catch this rather sketchy footage, and it seemed to be so legitimate that it even made the evening news, if it's the rumored relative of the Loch Ness Monster. Any time that something like this appears in a water body, people ignorantly liken it to the Loch Ness Monster. But this is Alaska and not Scotland. Unless you're geographically impaired in the brain, you would know that, right? Most experts agree that it may be some kind of sturgeon that may have been caught in a tree and is dragging it around because of the way that it swims and curves. Now it's time for today's topic. In 2025, veteran diver Michael Reyes from San Diego joined a deep dive expedition off Monterey Bay, California, a spot known for giant squid sightings but never anything like this. At 210 feet down, his helmet cam captured a shadow so massive it blacked out his floodlights. As the figure emerged, Michael realized he was staring at the largest shark he had ever seen, easily over 25 feet, scarred, slow and unnervingly silent. It circled him once, brushing the water just inches from his arm. Michael later said he felt the pressure wave hit him, like standing next to a moving truck underwater. Then, in the darkness behind the shark, he saw 3 more silhouettes, all enormous, all moving together as if they were hunting. Michael surfaced shaking, ripped off his gear, and told the crew he was done diving forever. What do you think he encountered that day? Number 15. Loch Ness Monster caught on camera. We have such a great research team here. They find all of the best content and videos for all of the scripts and all of our videos that are absolutely legitimate. And you can tell that they have put the greatest amount of effort into their job, especially when they choose a video that comes from the Sony Pictures Entertainment YouTube with a link on it that leads you to the website of a movie for which this clip comes from. This clip actually comes from a movie called The Water Horse, a movie that I had never heard of until I was forced to watch this clip, which I am told to pass off to you as being the legitimate sighting of a Loch Ness Monster type creature. But obviously it's from a movie. It comes from the movie's YouTube channel. It's linked to the movie's website. And in the comments, everyone knows that it comes from a movie. So, why am I even still talking about it as though it was a real and actual event? Excuse me for a moment. I'm going to go and re-examine my entire life. Number 14. Gulf of Mexico Sea Monster. Now, it's amazing to me that in all of the videos that we have of spooky things and cryptids and other mysterious anomalies that are caught on camera, none of them can ever seem to hold the camera still or even in position to look at something very long. So, it really is quite incredible that such an absolutely terrible camera used by an operator who's remote controlling it from somewhere else all while it's being underwater was able to capture such a steady image of this creature as it came into view. But that's probably because unlike all of the so-called cryptid videos that we see on the internet, this video is actually real and the creature that's in the video does actually exist. Now, as to what it is, most people believe that it is a form of jellyfish known as the salmissus. This jellyfish has all kinds of stringy and long tentacle-like things, and it's also called the dinner plate jellyfish on the account of the weird and odd shape that it has, where it looks kind of like a ring but also kind of looks like a flat dinner plate. These things are actually unlike any other kind of jellyfish. Instead of just passively waiting for plankton to pass by, they actively hunt for their prey. And they are found mostly in the deep waters off of Monterey Bay, California. So, while it may look mysterious because it's so far underwater with just a tiny little shining light and a really crappy 4-megapixel camera on it, it is in fact a beautiful creature and it is in fact just a jellyfish. Number 13. Sea creatures spotted near North Carolina. Inside Edition are back on the scene where this time they're investigating the sighting of a sea dinosaur Loch Ness Monster-style creature. A man was on the coast of North Carolina and of course he had his cell phone out because why would you enjoy the nature and the environment without it, right? He then caught something on camera that amazed him, turned to Twitter of all places to post it online because why would you not? And that's when the internet went ablaze saying that the Loch Ness Monster had come to North Carolina. The investigative journalists at Inside Edition then turned to Ron McIver, an expert in underwater life, who states clearly that it is not in fact the Loch Ness Monster. It's actually a baby whale that has temporarily come to the surface to try and discover what's going on there. It is an impressive opinion, but what's more impressive is Ron's mustache and hair, and the tiger portrait that he has in the background of his office. It all calls back to the time of Burt Reynolds and how everything was awesome in life. Number 12. Magnapinna squid at drilling site. The creature that you're seeing in this footage is also known as the big fin squid, but goes by the better name of Magnapinna squid. It is one of the ocean's most mysterious and fascinating creatures, and lives deep within the sea at levels where very few humans have ever been able to go. What sets this squid apart would be its incredibly long, thin arms and tentacles, which can get up to 20 times the length of its body. So, You just have to imagine something that looks like it has elbows because that's exactly what the arms of this squid resemble, bending sharply like joints as they hang down. This creature was originally discovered in the 1980s and still remains a mystery because it lives so deep underwater that it makes it hard to study. And most of the footage of the squid comes from scenarios like this where there are cameras underwater in deep-sea submersibles or other kind of implements that allow it to be captured. Scientists believe that the squid uses those big long arms and tentacles and drags them along the ocean floor just waiting to snatch up any food as it swims along. And this unique technique is much different from other squids which tend to actively chase after their prey. And while it may look like some kind of crazy alien creature down in the depths of the ocean on a really shaky and janky camera, it is indeed a squid and fascinating to boot. Number 11. Alien transforming underwater. Here we are at over 3,700 feet below sea level down in the depths and looking through the lens of a camera on some kind of offshore rig. What this rig does, we aren't exactly sure as we cannot see the real equipment that it has. But one thing that we do see is some kind of strange black object that's floating through the water. Upon first viewing this object, it seems almost as though it's superimposed on the footage. It doesn't have any kind of shadow. It's in an odd shape as though it might be a piece of plastic or even something that fell off of a ship. But then suddenly it transforms into an alien, except that it's not an alien or any kind of other unknown mysterious creature. This is actually something that is known as the bloody bellycomb jelly, a type of jellyfish that, yes, when it transforms and expands does look kind of like some kind of underwater alien spacecraft. At the depths in which this creature lives and exists, it is almost invisible to other predators. This creature does come in all kinds of different shades, but it always has a blood-red stomach. That sparkling display on the outside that seems to be some kind of alien instrumentation or light show actually comes from light diffracting and reflecting off of transparent tiny little hair-like cilia. And so, unfortunately, this time it is not, in fact, aliens or any kind of other unknown sea creature. It's just a very beautiful jellyfish that is going about and doing its thing. Number 10. Unidentified sea monster. Now, I can absolutely not tell you what it is that you are about to see, but what I can tell you is that I don't like looking at it. It's weird, it's big, and as to whatever it might be, I really have absolutely zero clue. And neither did anybody else because there were no comments in the original video. Could be a whale, could be a manta ray up close, could be a big blanket. Who really knows? Do you know? Maybe you can tell me what it is. Go on and have your own opinions about it in the comments down below. Number 9. Sea creature attacks a surfer. For about the next minute, I'm going to subject you to some absolute nonsense where we have a guy who is surfing out on the waves. This is reported to be Ryland Rubens. He's a professional surfer who teaches surfing out in San Diego, California. The person who shot this footage is probably not affiliated with him, but then again, maybe so. In this footage, we see some dark objects in the waves as Ryland is cutting and surfing and doing his thing through the water. You can't really tell what it is, but for all intents and purposes, let's just say that it's some kind of octopus that maybe got caught in a boat propeller or was dead and floating along or something of that fact. Otherwise, you can sit and convince yourself all day long that it's some kind of mysterious creature that had allegedly tried to attack him while he was just doing his thing and ignoring everyone else out in the water. Yes, let's go with that bit of malarkey. I mean, it seems equally as plausible as anything else that you'll see today on the interwebs. Number 8. Alien or mermaid. Here we have some footage that appears to be from some kind of documentary. I don't really know what's going on or why it looks the way that it does, but there are a couple of guys in what appear to be an underwater cabin of sorts looking up at the ceiling for some inexplicable reason while some seriously eerie music plays underneath. Suddenly, the guy that's in the camera's range is freaked out by something, and after a slow motion replay, we see what appears to be some kind of flippered hand that passes across the glass outside for a moment before swimming away. For all we know, this could have been done in an aquarium somewhere or likewise just CGI because the quality of it is so terrible that you can't really tell what's going on. Someone in the comments said that it comes from a fake Discovery Channel documentary, but I don't know. Enlighten me on this one and entertain my thoughts and let me know what you think it is in the comments down below. Number 7. Mysterious sea creature at Bondi Beach. Here we have some footage of what looks like a piece of a shark caught up in some kelp off the coast of Sydney on Bondi Beach in Australia. It was such a crazy finding that even Yahoo News had to get involved and post it online, and CBS News even reported on it as well. Beachgoers who first saw the object said it gave off a strong metallic smell, something unlike any regular marine decay, which only added fuel to the mystery. Some witnesses even claimed they saw unusual scrape marks along the kelp trail, as if the creature or object had been dragged in from deeper waters. Marine biologists who examined the footage noted that the texture of the flesh looked strangely intact for something that had supposedly decomposed in open water. A few theorists online went even further, suggesting the possibility of an unknown species or a rare deep-sea anomaly surfacing after a storm. Others brought up reports of strange sonar readings recorded just days earlier near the same coastline. Rumors spread fast, turning the beach into a temporary hotspot for curious onlookers hoping to glimpse something extraordinary. The person who shot it, Drew Lambert, believes that it may be a horned shark or some other form of shark when in fact it may actually be a decomposing coffin ray. This took place in April of 2022, which is kind of suspect because only a month later, some other mysterious object washed up on that same beach, which actually turned out to be a prop for the Netflix show Stranger Things. I wonder if these two objects could have had anything to do with each other. Number 6. Sea monster near Belfast. There are quite a lot of questions that I have about this video. Number 1 being, why is it that this guy is fishing in a suit? Another reason being that why is there another boat so close to them? And another question being, what actually is this thing that we're seeing? And why does it move so straight and even in the water without bobbing up and down or making any kind of movement? Well, as it turns out, this video, shockingly, may actually be fake. A person whose last name is Malarkey, says that they were shooting something called Fishing with David Lynch. I can only imagine this was supposed to be some kind of comedy skit or maybe a short film. Look at the size of it. But in this scenario, it is only fitting that something like this would happen given the fact that it's supposed to be with David Lynch. Now, skeptics claim that this video was actually not shot where the person claims that it was because in the background you see a landmass that doesn't match up, one that's actually about 130 miles away from wherever this video is claimed to have been shot. So, let's see, guy in a three-piece suit, cameras that just happen to be there that look professional, shaky footage on purpose, an object that moves too smooth and clean in the water to be real, and the fact that the guy's last name is Malarkey. I just wonder if this could actually be a phony video. Number 5. Swedish sea monster. Now, in fact, this is not a sea monster. We know that because this is a legitimate news report from Sweden on one of their top news reporting programs and the footage is actually real. Locals who frequented the lake later reported hearing strange splashes at dusk, sounds they had always dismissed as fish but now wondered if they were linked to whatever appeared on camera. Some researchers even speculated that the creature's movement pattern, smooth, serpentine, and deliberate, suggested something larger than the average lake inhabitant. One biologist noted that the object seemed to pause and hover for a moment, as if inspecting the camera before drifting back into the murk. Rumors began circulating online, with some residents claiming they'd seen long ripples gliding across the lake's surface on windless days. Amateur investigators flocked to the area, setting up their own equipment in hopes of solving the mystery. The footage sparked enough interest that Sweden's environmental agency briefly considered conducting a deeper survey of the lake, curious about whether an undiscovered species could be hiding in its depths. It turns out that some people actually went and set up these cameras in a lake in Sweden in order to capture what life was like and be able to study it from an ecological perspective. And since the lake is so dirty and murky and the cameras were not all that great when it comes to quality, this is the ambiguous footage that we end up with. Now, Sweden does actually have a snake that swims. The common grass snake there is a swimmer and is known to swim around in the lakes within the country. So whether or not it may be that or perhaps some kind of oarfish or even an eel, well, that is still unknown because this footage is so blurry and so indescribable that no one really knows what's going on. Number 4. A sea monster's tale. The oceans of the world are a vast and extreme network of places that have rarely ever been explored. Some of this is due to the depths of certain places. Some of it is due to the lack of funding and other resources that people have to do it. So, it's safe to say that out of everything in this world, we know very little about what's in those waters in the places that we love to go. It does stand to reason that a sea dinosaur could have actually went on to exist and not become extinct because of the vast amount of life that we don't know exists down there. So, I'm not necessarily going to rule out that this could be some kind of ancient dinosaur, or at least generations of dinosaurs have come and gone and left this one behind. But then again, it also kind of looks like a manatee. And people in the comments section say that the three-pronged tail may well be damaged from a motorboat's engine. Manatees are rather docile and gentle creatures who do love to come to the surface from time to time and explore what exactly is going on up there. So, it's not out of the question that one could have been run over by a boat and left with a three-pronged tail like this. Also, because we don't get a full view of this creature coming out of the water or anything of the like, it very well could be a manatee. Or perhaps it is a real-life dinosaur having lived through the generations and existing in these waters. My money, however, is on manatee. Number 3. Mermaid caught on camera. I honestly don't know what the hell is going on in this footage. This murky underwater footage, allegedly from an oil rig and allegedly filmed by NOAA, seems to purport something that isn't actually there. When you look closely, the water around the scene almost seems to pulse, as if something massive is disturbing the currents just outside the camera's view. A few viewers claim they can spot a faint silhouette trailing behind the blur, something long-limbed and unnervingly humanoid. Others insist the sudden shift in light, right before the flash darts by, resembles bioluminescent skin, the kind seen on deep-sea creatures that rarely come near the surface. One diver who commented said he once saw a similar streak while working beneath a platform, describing it as a shape that moved too fast for my brain to register. Another theory is that whatever zipped past the camera was intentionally avoiding the rig lights, as if aware it was being watched. The strangest part is that the impaled fish swings violently the moment the blur passes, almost like it was brushed aside by something with weight and momentum. That's a big shocker considering what we're watching right now. In the footage, you can see a fish has been impaled by something when a big giant blur goes by the screen at 100 miles per hour. Whoever posted this video says that that big flash was indeed a mermaid. They even do a replay and try to slow it down. But once again, it's just a big blurry flash across the screen. Kind of like the first time it did it when it turned out to be a fish. I don't know. Maybe we are looking at a mermaid, and maybe we've all gone insane from spending too much time on YouTube. Who could possibly say? Number 2. Sea creature spotted in Florida. It really is the great bane of my existence to have to get on YouTube and watch videos like this where some kind of amateur sleuth claims that they've captured some kind of great and mysterious monster or creature or otherwise unidentified object in the water. This footage, much like that with Bigfoot, is always grainy and hard to see, and it is completely out of focus and janky. Nonetheless, here we are staring at something dark bobbing in and up out of the water in Florida. For those of you who actually have 15 cents worth of common sense, you would know that Florida is a great grounds for all kinds of manatees, whales, and other large creatures to swim about and surface and find their way through. So, it should be no surprise to you that this is actually a manatee. And if you look closely in the video, you can actually see an injured fin and the head of a manatee. Now, many people in the comments wanted to dispute these kind of facts. And of course, there will always be those sorts of people, but for you and I and those who have a reasonable mind, we all know that this is not some kind of sea monster. It's just a manatee that's out playing in the water. Come on, people. Do better on the internet. Number 1. Sea monster filmed by tourists. Here we are in Alaska where we have a clip that shows 7 black fin-looking objects poking up out of the water in front of a collapsed glacier. Some tourists were out on an expedition looking at the glaciers and all of the beauties and wonder that Alaska has to offer when suddenly these objects began to appear up out of the water surface. At first, the tour group thought they were watching seals surfacing for air, but the synchronized rise and fall of the shapes immediately caused uneasy whispers to ripple across the boat. A few witnesses claimed the movement looked almost too coordinated, like segments of a single massive creature gliding just beneath the surface. One tourist even described hearing a low, rumbling vibration through the hull, as if something enormous was shifting through the icy water below them. Others suggested it might be a cluster of large predators chasing unseen prey, which would explain why the dark shapes never fully surfaced. As the fins drifted closer to the glacier's edge, the frigid water around them seemed to churn unnaturally, adding to the tension. Even the expedition guide, who had spent decades navigating Alaskan waters, admitted he had never seen anything move like that in all his years. In the imagery, we see some fin-looking objects that seemingly are connected to each other and moving in unison. Now, of course, some people have alluded to it being some kind of sea dragon or unknown species, and it's not out of the question to find something that we've never discovered in the ocean before. I'm just not so sure that it's going to be discovered in these parts of the world. But what do you think it is that we're seeing here on the screen? As always, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That concludes our tour of the deep and the mysterious events captured there. So, what's your verdict on these so-called monsters? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're ready for more mysteries, check out the videos appearing on your screen now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.